Built in 1889, Ormsby Hall is the oldest dorm building on the university campus. It is also one of the few buildings that is rumored to be haunted. It was built to originally house 120 residents. However, in reality, there are 121. Since coming to Lawrence, I'd always heard the tale of the 121st resident. From scary stories told by veteran RHDs to various Laurentian pieces, the oldest one dating back to February 1899. Curious of these various experiences, I attempted to catch it all on camera. Chelsea Hallowin is the current resident of room 318, where she has reported that a spirit named John communicates with her. This is her story.
Growing up, my parents always lived in really old houses, and so I remember my mom, when I was like 8 years old, we moved into this really old farm house, and so in the house we would have lots of experiences, the usual, just like doors slamming shut all the time, or doors opening all the time, or lights turning on, lights turning off, which those things could be explained. But then sort of as I got older, my friends and I were stupid and decided to use a Ouija board in the small barn. That was one of the scariest nights of my life, I think. It was with a group of people that I really trust, and all of us genuinely wanted to see what would happen. So nobody was faking it. So I remember we all put our fingers on the planchette and whatever, and started asking questions, and started moving really fast. It was I don't know, it almost just felt like electric, touching it. We started talking to this little girl. She was telling us about how she didn't like living there. She was trapped there, and we asked her why and what happened, and she had been killed, and we were like, well, by who? And she said, my dad. She died in a fire. I remember exactly in that moment just feeling this, all of us just felt this overwhelming wave of darkness. We all started shaking. Everybody instantly felt really sick and weak, and have never felt so close to dying in that instant. It was just overwhelmingly terrifying, even just talking about it now. I just don't even have words to express how it felt. So we said goodbye, and we basically ran out of the building. and I was terrified. We were visiting Savannah, Georgia, and we found this thing, and my mom thought it was super cool, and I was like, oh yeah, it's cool, why not? And it was imported from Germany, and we were like, this could be an interesting thing to have. Which now I think of as a weird thing for my mother to want, but she's a pretty cool lady. Anyway, but I had to bring the Ouija board to school with me because she did not want it to be at home alone, because after we had used it, I think she had started experiencing some things in the house. So coming to Lawrence, remember hearing about Ormsby being haunted, and for me, since I had experiences in the past, I was like, oh well, that could be interesting. I think paranormal stuff is interesting. Remember one night I had some friends over and we were bored, and so we were like, well, we could use the board. And so we all sat around the board, and once again I was with a group of people who did not believe in ghosts, so they were just all kind of like, haha, this will be funny. And so anyway, we did doing the board, and planchette starts moving, and it spells out the word John, which is a super generic name, but whatever. And John said that he had been a student at Lawrence, and he didn't really like living here. He liked me, he didn't like my roommate, and we didn't ask why because I didn't really want to know why. And my roommate is wonderful, just to preface, she's the best. But we asked sort of a little bit more about how he felt living here, and he said, well, I get bored a lot of the time. And when I get bored, I like to mess with my roommate's stuff, which is really interesting. I was the only one who knew at the time about that stuff happening. And so I was kind of like, oh. And then he said that he liked to watch us, but I don't really know in what way. He just said, like, I like to watch you guys. So, which I guess could make sense. Maybe he's bored. But, so anyway, after that, I started to notice, I don't know, just a few weird things in the room. Like, the lights, we have like string lights around and they'll just start to swing. Not the lights above me, I'm on the other side of the room. Or things will just fall for no reason, or just like fly off the shelf. But it's weird. It's the first time where I've had like paranormal experiences and not been afraid of them. It's just the feeling of being watched a lot in the room, and not necessarily in a bad way. You can just feel like this presence with you.
Later that night, we attempted to recreate her conversation with the spirit of John. By using sensitive equipment to record, we performed an EVP, or electronic voice phenomenon, in hopes of catching John on tape. Here's what we got.
John, were you a student at Lawrence?
Noise in the background.
What is your last name? Were you a student at Lawrence?
Just after asking that question, the camera facing the bookshelf picks up what we believe to be a disembodied voice. After amplifying the audio, you can hear just how clearly the voice sounds like it's answering the question with a yes.
Were you a student at Lawrence? Were you a student at Lawrence?
Not having heard physically the response to that question, we continue asking questions for the rest of the night. We got no more responses, except for this last one.
What else would you like me to ask?
Thank you for answering.
Thank you for answering.
Okay, I guess cut that.